Well, as promised, Michael Watkins very kindly stayed around. We've had loads of questions, very strong response to your presentation. I want to begin, though, with a very general question, because you were talking about, at the beginning, reimagining, reacting and reimagining to a crisis, that response. You could argue that that's really going to be determined by the sector that you're in, because part of that response, the reaction, is virtual working, etc., which a lot of tech companies do already anyway. It's built into their DNA. So I guess in that sense, they have an advantage over the rest of us.
So, yes, Juliet, and no. and yes, because it's clear that there has been, really different impacts by industrial sector or, business sector on this. And, one of the things I've been doing lately through my work with IMD has been surveying executives. In this case, it was more than 500 executives around the impact of the crisis, right? And asking them how severe they see the impact. And this survey actually was done, quite a while back at this point. I'm just going to put it up for a second, right? There are industries like transportation, travel, oil and gas, because of the decline in prices, that are just really being impacted tremendously badly. And so the focus on retrenchment, of course, is much deeper, right? The need to react much greater. And so therefore, I think, to the point that the viewer made, they may have less capacity to engage in that reimagination and reshaping process, right? So that's the yes to your question, Juliet. The no to your question is, if you look at Atrium, it's part of a sector that's been really badly hit by this, right? Tremendous deficits in revenue, huge impacts on workforce. They didn't have a single person working remotely before this started, and now they've got 10,000 people working remotely. So that's the no part, right? Which is, I don't think that the fact that you're in a sector that's tough means you're unable to do any of this. I think it becomes a matter of leadership, fundamentally.
Sure. And that's the point, really. It's the kind of leader who responds and moves it forward. And let's stay with this idea of leaders.